everybody. Welcome back for the new year and the new edition of Movies That Move. We hope you guys had a great holiday, that your New Year's is off to a good start, and that you got to watch some good films during that time, because we did. We did. So you want to start?
Okay, so first... Well, actually, I'm not going to do it in order because my memory's not that good. I do remember, though, that I started the season off with watching, it was kind of like before break and then into break, I started watching Insecure again. I've actually seen the show before. I think I watched it 2 other times, but I just wanted to, like, refresh it and, like, kind of wish that Issa Rae releases another season or something, but I know it's not gonna happen. But I finished that, and I honestly finished that in, like, I want to say probably like 5 days or something. Probably.
So that's all you were watching for a week.
Literally, yeah. And then I watched Christmas-wise. I watched Friday After Next, obvious classic. You have to watch that movie. Candy Cane Lane.
That was cute.
Dashing Through the Snow,
also cute,
with Ludacris and Lil Rel. I watched Black Cake, but that was another one where I kind of watched it like before,
but then slightly before.
Yeah. I saw a post. It was like a funny post about Dreamgirls, and it reminded me because how much I liked it as a kid. So I rewatched that. I watched Sparkle. What else did I watch? I feel like I'm missing something.
You probably are.
Rap-ish, which that's not really the name.
That's not the name.
But I don't want to curse or like.
We can't. Then you'll never see our stuff. So.
Well, what did you watch?
Well, I did Candy Cane Lane. Mm-hmm. That's with Eddie Murphy, Tracy Ross Ellis, David Allen Greer. And we posted about that in the group. That was actually a really cute movie. That's another Black Christmas classic for the whole family. It wasn't anything serious, and what I mean by that is it didn't delve into, well, as Black people, we do this for Christmas. It was a family that was trying to celebrate Christmas. Dad had a whole lot going on, and he got all twisted up in something, and magic was involved, and he almost lost his whole family. So they had to learn the real meaning of Christmas.
I honestly feel like that's the theme of a lot of the, I'm noticing with a lot of like the Black films that are tied around the holidays.
Yeah. I'm
actually enjoying the fact that like it's not so like focused on culture and like race even.
It's focused like on family.
Yeah, it's like, okay, this is normal and this is what a normal Black family looks like. It's not like pushing that so hard, but it's like, you know, as a young Black person, if you're a little kid watching the movie and you grow up watching this movie over and over again every Christmas, it's just normal. And I think that's what we need, and I feel like Black film and just the Black community period, like it doesn't always have to be so like pounded into us about Black culture, but just like some normal fun type movies. Like Dashing Through the Snow was the same way. It was just like, you know, it's about this guy that just doesn't believe in Christmas at all because he had like a bad experience when he was a kid. So like now he just, anything that revolves around Christmas, he's just not for it. He doesn't like the music. He doesn't like Santa Claus. He doesn't like any of that. And his daughter loves Christmas.
Right.
So it's like, you know, then he runs into the real Santa Claus and is basically kind of like trying to find every reason as to why he's not really Santa Claus. Yeah, but it was just like a goofy kind of fun movie that puts you in the Christmas spirit, but it's not like pounding that
into your head.
Yeah.
And when it comes, we were just talking about Black culture with Dashing Through the Snow. The only thing that was like, oh yeah, we gonna put this in there so that it's our thing. David Allen Greer played Santa. And I don't know if some of y'all remember a few years ago there was a big thing about having Black Santa on cards and things like that, and people were like, but Santa is white. Well, guess what? For us, Santa's black, period. I mean, in our family, Santa's black, we're Santa. So again, normalizing it, making it fun, you know, and making it visual so our kids see, you know, a whole family plus, oh my gosh, there's a mythical person that looks like us for once. We also we mentioned Black Cake, which for us was a big deal. Now that's based on a book of the same title. I haven't read the book yet.
Neither have I.
And because the series left me hanging at the end, now I got to go read the book, which I was going to do anyway. But now I got to go read the book to figure out the rest of the story. But it's actually a really good series. I know there were a few people who already read the book who were like, I didn't like it.
Well, I'm not a reader. I'm definitely more of a visual. I'm like into the more like painting, crafting, watching television type thing more than I am reading. But my old teacher from high school, I like posted about it, and she actually was like, oh, I read the book and I loved it, you have to read it. And I was just like, I'm not a reader. And she was just like,
I keep telling her audiobooks are her friend.
But then she said to me, she was, and she did suggest that, but she said, I'm telling you, like, you're gonna like it. And I already loved the show so much. And I'll say this, I really appreciate the show, not only for it just having a good storyline overall, but it really was a comfort show to me because a lot of the themes that are in it remind me of like my family members and stuff like that. So it was just kind of like watching it was like making me feel like, oh my gosh, like, is this what my family member had to go through? Because their stories kind of parallel a little bit as of like, you know, starting out in Jamaica and their travels and things like that. And then finally coming to the US. It's kind of like, it really just gave me comfort in a way. But I do want to read the book. I do want to give it a try because I know I need to read more books.
Yes, you do.
But
and look,
I think that'd be a good starter.
And then we can have our mother-daughter conversation.
But then now that you said that, now I'm scared because I'm anticipating the new season, and then it's gonna ruin everything.
But here's what happens when they take a book to movie. They leave a lot of things out.
That's true.
And then once you read the book, you go back and you watch the movie or the series again, and you're like, oh, that's why they did that. Or, oh, that's why they said that. And it just kind of pulls everything back together.
And speaking on that, that's a movie that we didn't really talk about or add to the list yet, but I also went to go see The Color Purple, and I really liked that too. And that was also a book that turned into a film. But it's like comparing the two. It's like comparing the old version to the new version. And I haven't read that book either, but knowing that there were probably so many details, I think people didn't really like the new one because, one, it was singing in it, or it was a musical, and then two, because there were just certain details that they pulled from the book that weren't in the original.
Yeah, what I heard is that this is a lot closer to what was in the book than the 1983 version of The Color Purple. And for those who are old enough to remember when that came out, the biggest part of it was they kind of tapered down the relationship between Suge and Celie, because even down to the kiss that they both shared, that was just, oh my God, that was scandalous. That much was put on there. But 2023, when it came out, 2024, it's like, hey, let's go all in.
The one thing I'll also say about the new one too, which I haven't read the book, so I don't know if they paid a little bit more attention to that in the book or if they emphasized it more. But the one thing I did appreciate a little bit more about this one versus the first one, and I'm not saying this to say that it's better than, because nothing is going to be better than the original Color Purple in my eyes. That's just how I feel. It is what it is. But I appreciated the fact that they kind of went in a little bit deeper with Celie a little bit more. Like, they kind of focused in on her a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Because it was just kind of like, there were certain parts of this film, the one that just came out, where I was like, oh, they didn't really, like, show that part of Celie in the other one. Mm. Like a prime example was like when Sophia got locked up in jail in the previous one, they didn't really show Celie going to the jail and talking to her and being there for her and everything like that. They didn't really show parts of Celie's life after Mr. They didn't show all of that. They showed snippets of it, but not as in depth as they did in this one. So I think, like, definitely I'm starting to really understand, like, as a movie watcher and a TV show watcher, I am realizing that there's certain details that films leave out because either they don't have enough time to kind of tell all that, or they try to, what do they call it,
condense.
Well, no, not condense, like they try to glamorize certain stuff,
right.
So
tell me this, Coleman Domingo was Mr., right?
I believe so. Honestly, don't give me a line, I don't really know his name. I know Fantasia, I know Sierra, I know
dude with
Haley.
The mustache.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hate to compare, but do you think people are going to gristle at his Mr. the way they do with Daniel Glover? Okay.
I didn't hate him as much. Daniel Glover, I swear. Oh my, or Danny Glover, I hated him for years. Like, it was just, because I watched the film as a younger, like a kid. And, like, I always used to hear my cousins, like, reenact the parts and everything. And they used to know all the parts. And now I'm older and I know all the parts. But it's just, like, Mr. was literally the worst. Like,
Wild.
And, I mean, in this one, don't get me wrong, he played his part. He definitely was the worst. But he was giving me that underlying, like, oh, I can see that you're going to, like... I don't want to say I can see. It was more like... I knew that there was just, like, a more softer side to him. I feel like when Danny Glover played it, it was like...
They just put his mean streak out there, but they had a whole human being for this version.
And I don't know, maybe it's biased because I didn't... Maybe it's a little biased, though, because I have seen the original film so many times. Mm-hmm. So you kind of know what's going to happen. But it's kind of like one of those things where it's like... I also feel like with Danny Glover, I feel like he also in that film, you didn't really see him kind of, I guess you didn't see the more, probably, you didn't see his background as much until the very end of the movie. So and again, they didn't really go that in detail with what his passions were, what his dad was keeping him from, and how his dad was trying to kind of control his life. Like, you didn't really see all of that until later on in the first one. But it humanized him. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like knowing all of that, I think prematurely, it kind of like makes you think like, okay, yeah, he's this villainous guy or he's this bad dude. But it's like, then you kind of start to understand the character a little bit more because it's like, okay, well, usually villains always have a reason for being a villain. They're not just evil for no reason.
Right.
Like, they always have a reason or a backstory. And I think because maybe I already had the backstory, and even in this film, they kind of, like, magnified that a little bit more. Like, earlier in the film, you see Mr. always playing this ukulele and stuff like that, and talking about Suge. So it's like you automatically kind of, like, and he said stuff like, oh, I could have played in her band, or I could have did this. So it's kind of like, it
makes more sense.
You see the dreamer in him, but it was taken away from him because of what his dad wanted him to focus on. Okay. You see him working the fields more and talking about the crop and all that other stuff in this one versus the other one.
Okay.
You just, with Danny Glover, it was just like literally, he was just beating the heck out of Celia every 5 seconds. It seemed like, yeah. That's all you saw.
Okay. All right. Well, I personally am waiting for that one to be on streaming, which I think it just came out on streaming.
You should go see it, I think.
Okay, so here's the thing. The movie theater that's close to me is at the mall. Nikkei does not do the mall between Thanksgiving and close to Valentine's Day. I avoid it completely because people drive crazy out there.
But she could also go. She's not talking about. She could go the same amount of time and distance, and go to like our kind of ghost town movie theater, and get the tickets cheaper and her snacks cheaper, and go watch it. And probably nobody's gonna be there when you go.
That movie theater has busted seats. The last time we went there, the back of a seat fell off on me.
I mean,
it ain't worth it. I want to be comfortable. Anyway,
I will tell you though, the mall, their seats are starting to rub off.
Yeah, they are starting
like bad. So I'm sorry.
Which is another reason why I'm kind of like,
this is not a movie theater review. I wasn't trying to say that, but I was just making the point.
Anyway. So the other movie Miss Thing over here watched, and we reviewed it before, I think, when Nicole was with us, Lilies of the Field. She got some Sidney Poitier on all by her onesie. So talk to me about it. What
so I recently have been on Tubi TV or whatever the app is called, but I've been on there and I've just kind of been finding all these like older movies, and I'm somebody that I used to watch a lot of Turner Classic movies, so the black and white films. But when I would watch the movies, no shade, but it was a lot of like, the white people. Like those are the films that I watch. But I've always heard of Sidney Poitier, and I've even seen one movie, I think it was Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. That was like the only, like, I think that was probably one of the only films that I've seen of him. But I've heard so much about him as an actor. Yeah. So when I came across this film, I was like, oh, let me educate myself, because I've never seen any of his other stuff.
There's one that he did where he was a school teacher.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, but I forget the name of it.
Actually, I think there's two where he played a teacher.
No, I'm thinking
one was To Sir with Love, and I can't remember the other one, but it was like he only had boys in his classroom, if I remember it. And I know somebody out there is like, Nikkei, it's called. But if I remember it, I'll post it in the group or bring it back here. But yeah, he was a powerhouse actor. Even way back then, he took on some roles that I imagine probably ticked a lot of people off. But do I want to use the word elevated? It presented the black community well. It was a broad spectrum of roles. I'll say it that way. What else did we watch? For me, I dug down into documentaries because I never really have. Doing this, we never really focus on documentaries because I don't want to bore you guys to death, because documentaries are serious things. Excuse me. There is one where there's one shot of this documentary that circulates on social media every now and then, and it's called Deconstructing Karen. You may see it come up under the heading Race to Dinner. And it's two activists that pulled this together, Regina Jackson and Syra Rao. And so what they do is they have a dinner. They were doing it as a person-to-person dinner just before the pandemic. And so they invite white women out. They are the only two women of color sitting at the table. And they talk to these white women about what they can do to fix racism, because it's not on black folks. Black folks are on the receiving end of things. White folks are on the delivery end of things. And so they really challenge these women to think about where their biases are. And they ask the popular question, would you trade places with a black person in this country? And when that question was presented,
Everyone was silent.
crickets. They asked about.
Oh, is that lady with the glasses?
Does she have glasses? I think.
And she has like white hair and she's older.
Short hair. Yeah, older lady.
I think I know who you're talking. She's like a professor or something.
I don't know if she's a professor. But
I feel like I've seen her.
Syra Rao, I think she was either a city council leader or a senator. She actually ran for office. And she kind of hit a wall with that, you know, and it was something that had those undertones of racism involved in it, and she had to step back from that role. But this is actually really good. It's on Apple TV. I think you can get it a few other places, either to rent or to buy. But it's actually a very good documentary if you want to check that out. I also watched, there's a series on Disney that I watched. Oh gosh, what was it called again? Never Say Never with Jeff Jenkins. This is about Jeff Jenkins. He actually travels. He goes all over the world and he challenges himself. You know, he's out there climbing mountains. He's out there learning about the life of a lumberjack, and he's hands-on with it. The thing is, he is you usually hear plus size applied to women, but he's a plus size guy doing all of this stuff, but he's putting his whole self into it, you know, with the activities and stuff like that. And he's broadening his perspective. So he kind of takes you on the journey with him to see all of these places, do all of these things. He, the one that sticks out to me a bit is, where did he go? Australia, with the Maori people. So he learned a little Maori, like how they introduce themselves, which he said this and it resonated with me. When they introduce themselves, they don't say, "Hi, my name is Bob."
They do like the Eskimo kiss thing.
No. And Eskimo kisses aren't real. We'll talk about that later. But they do a whole introduction. My name is Bob. I'm of this family, and they're doing this all in Maori. I'm of this family, from this tribe and this region, and we came from this area over here. I mean, it's a long introduction, but it's an introduction that's like a genealogy. You know, the way they introduce themselves to each other for the first time. So one of the things that Jeff said was, wow, you know, he says it's a big deal, because for a lot of Black Americans, we can't go back as far as your introductions go. You guys can introduce yourselves all the way back into the 1600s, and we're lucky if we can get to the early 1800s because of transatlantic slave trade and stuff like that. But you know, it's stuff like that he pulled out. So that's on Disney or Nat Geo, whichever one.
And that's what I said the other day about what's the one that we've been watching? The one where the guy goes back in people's genealogy. I forget the name of it. Finding Your Roots. Yeah, but it's something I noticed. It was like usually other races, they're able to, like this one girl, she was her family she's Canadian, so there was a lot of, you know, French and stuff like that mixed into her culture. And with her French side of the family, they were able to like go back so far into her history. And I'm like, the Black woman that they're doing 1-on-2 along with her, they said, hey, we can't even go this far back, and they had your relatives marked off as numbers, not even as
and that's something
you
it's pretty consistent with that show. Skip Gates does that. And so that's a cool show. Recently, they just did LeVar Burton, and he was surprised right off the rip that he had so many white people in his family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he was like, he was stunned by it, because it's like once they went up his mother's family tree, and he was like, well, did you hear about any of this? And he was like, no. So you're telling me my great grandfather was white? You're telling me my great grandmother was half white? And he was absolutely floored by it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another show. If you're not watching it on PBS, check out Finding Your Roots. Like she said, consistently you'll see where Black people can't trace their history, and it's kind of a known thing. But in this case, he was able to trace one side of his family all the way back. Because it was the white side of his family. So that's another good one to check out. Others that you can check out, I'm not going to get real deep into it. The Lincoln Dilemma, that one's on HBO. That one gave me a way better view of who Lincoln was and how he went about making his decisions compared to what we've been taught in school. You know, we've been taught, oh, he loved the Black people. Yet, not quite. But definitely check that one out. I checked out Milli Vanilli. I think that was on Hulu. We watched Danielle Luna. She was the first Black supermodel, and the person who has been credited as being the first Black supermodel did not know about Danielle Luna. So that's definitely one that you want to watch. And yeah, there's a whole list of stuff that we watched. So we really made use of our time. We'll be sharing some of these things in greater detail with you through this new season of movies that move we, and we'll list some other things in the comments so you guys know where to check it out. And as always, if you have suggestions, share. We love when you share. So anywho, thank you for joining us today. Make sure you like, share, follow, and follow us on YouTube. Follow us here on Facebook. And until next time, happy movie watching. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.